I call it the pandemic. And there's a lot going behind it that was all about manipulation, control, grabbing money, and literally changing the political and the financial landscape across the world, not just the country. Just most recently, there's a big, huge land grab going on in the Palisades, which is really sad. So we've created a document, an affidavit that I had my attorney check into, and it actually gives you the opportunity to claim your land. They have a 3,500% better rate at treating cancer at the top oncologists. In California, there's been a Proposition 771 that has just passed Congress and the state, literally smashing our free speech. They can charge us up to $1 million for telling the truth, right?
Yeah. And then I do notice how heavily censored that you are on social media and just everywhere. Good morning, Louis. Welcome to my show.
It's great to be here, Scarlett.
So appreciate that you coming here. I know you're running an exciting campaign, so tell us all about it. Who you are, your background, why you're running for governor for CA, and your platform.
Sure. So my background before getting involved in this movement, and I say this movement to try to really deeply change our country and the world, is I was a troubleshooter for many businesses. So very large businesses. I would go in and, for example, in the fitness area, there was a very, very large company, Fortune 500, I think, or 1,000 company. And they would bring me in. I'd go to the worst club in a district. And within 3 to 6 months, my job was to get it to number one. And then I'd move on to the next one and the next one. And that would include making some policy changes, motivating people, instituting certain processes and procedures, and bringing their sales and marketing up, and the cleanliness and the systems of the club to the top of the top. So I did that. And then I've done something similar for very large sales corporations. I've even worked with inside Verizon and one of the largest construction companies through Southern California. I actually broke all the records by double based on my implementation. So why do I say that? Because my goal is generally find an issue and then find the solution for it. So they've kind of named me the troubleshooter, and I'm very proud of that. And it's not generally me, because I've never pretended to be the smartest man in the room, but I will definitely find and support myself with the smartest around me. And I'm really good at seeing what a talent has to offer, and then setting the ego on the shelf and say, well, this is a better idea. Let's go with this, right? So I'm very proud of that history. Had a great success in this. And then in 2020, while I owned my own construction business, and we just got through a cabal company going after us, and it cost us over $1 million in sales and lawsuits. We just won that, and then we went into the pandemic. And what was interesting, that we were just about ready to be extraordinarily profitable. And we saw a lot of issues going on. So I created my first film, which was 2020 Vision. And that was try to awake people to what's going on. You know, you may look at this as a pandemic, but the reality is it's something else.
It's a
right?
pandemic.
There's a big plan. There's a big plan behind it. Yes. And I call it the pandemic. And there's a lot going behind it that was all about manipulation, control, grabbing money, and literally changing the political and the financial landscape across the world, not just the country. So I recognized that, and I started to evaluate what we called conspiracy theories in the past that we know are true today. And then that's where my platform got going, and I ended up doing a thing called the Truth Tours, and my platform was ScrewBigGov, screwbiggov.com. And then next thing you know, we built a huge following. I traveled and did 117 tours across the United States, and over 200 speaking engagements. And we really developed a group of people that wanted to change things. So then I started to develop programs and processes to change things. So for example, just most recently, there's a big, huge land grab going on in the Palisades, which is really sad. So for a solution, we're not waiting to step into the government mansion and go for solutions. We go for a solution now. So we've created a document, an affidavit that I had my attorney check into, and it actually gives you the opportunity to claim your land. And now this week that will actually be online. So we don't have to meet you in the Palisades. You can fill it out online digitally. We don't charge for it. And then it's going to attach you to the title sites to get your information, and then it's going to attach you to a notary if you want to get it notarized. So this actually helps people secure their land so they can't use these loopholes to try to steal your land from you for abandonment. We've done that. We're working with a program that I call Remember Your Oath, where it holds sheriffs accountable and it actually will support them. I've explained this to Sheriff Mack, and he just loves the program. So we're probably going to be working together. I'll be calling him this week or next. Then we have Freedom in Action. Freedom in Action is an app that we're extraordinarily proud of. And this app it's just about done. It's in 2.5 years in the making, cost us an absolute fortune. It's going to be free for everybody. Where anybody in the country, and let's say especially California right now, can go into this app, put in your information. Now, you don't have to put in your real information because you may want to stay anonymous, but you can connect with any patriots in your area. You can do searches of 10, 20, 30 miles. So now we can connect as a group. And this is what the baddies are most afraid of, is that we create community again.
Yes.
So now we can create community. So I'll use, for example, can you imagine if they have transgender reading hour in a school, right? We can literally say, there's a school board meeting at this place. There's an events section. We need everybody to go and voice their opinion. Now you have hundreds of people showing up at school board meetings. And we've seen the more people you get involved, the better it is. So my purpose with this, letting you know this, is we're working right now. We're not waiting for somebody to do it for us. We just had a press conference on Saturday of the most massive money theft system in California that you could possibly ever imagine. Over $100 billion. We just disclosed that on the 27th, and that's going to get bigger, bigger, and bigger.
So what made you decide to run for governor instead of just working on the current level?
Yeah, thank you. So I've been working on the current level for several years, and we've had a lot of impact in human trafficking, health modalities, so on and so forth. But what got me is my heart and soul is ending child trafficking. That's where I've spent a lot of my time, energies, and my wife and I spent I can't even imagine how much money we spent on trying to fix that issue. And we made a lot of traction. So I said, okay, let me evaluate the California Republican candidates. And my purpose of doing that is because I know California's human and child trafficking is the largest industry in the whole state, larger than tech and finance industry put together when it comes to profit. It's incredible, but it seems to be ignored. So I said, okay, I'm going to support one of the gubernatorial candidates that are really hammering this issue. Not one was mentioning it, not one. And that saddened me, to be honest with you, Scarlett. It just really, really saddened me. I said, wow, how can I vote for somebody that's ignoring the children like that? I said, I just can't do it. So I said, God, what am I going to do? And I got the answer while I was sleeping that evening, and it says, you're running for governor. And I argued. I said, no, God, I'm not running for governor. Oh, yes, you are. I said, okay, what does that look like? And he said, well, you're the disruptor. You're the one that's going to bring light to these issues. And then we'll go from there. So I don't know what going from there means. I believe that means we're going to be in the, taking the governor's mansion and making these changes. But that's really what drew me into this, is people weren't talking about child trafficking. They weren't talking about the health modalities. That just blew me away. In fact, people have already called our campaign Super Maha, because we are going to bring the best of health and vitality to California and get rid of the poisons that are just destroying us. Nobody was talking about that, Scarlett. I'm just like, what is going on here? I felt like I was in the opposite world. So this is why I'm in the race. I believe at least you'll have one candidate that's fighting for the children and fighting for our health and fighting against the corruption, the parasites that run everything.
Yeah, the reality of child trafficking, it just really, really breaks my heart. I have 3 children. You never know what's going to happen to them, if anything were to happen to me or whatever. So, but I think most people are not aware, and most people think this is a conspiracy theory. I think that's why a lot of the politicians don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I find there's a lack of courage. They also understand that when you start talking about child trafficking, when you start talking about the parasites that control everything, and when you start talking about health, they know they're going to be attacked at a very, very high level. It's okay. This is just happens to be a shirt I was wearing this morning for the Truth Tour. When we ran the Truth Tour, I was poisoned 2 times because of telling the truth. If we don't have somebody courageous enough to expose these things, they're not going to be courageous enough to fix them, are they?
What do you mean
There,
when you said you were poisoned?
yes, 2 times on the True Tour, I was actually poisoned because they wanted to shut me down. And then
Well,
this happens often with some, they call some truthers or some conspiracy theorists, right?
uh-huh.
If they were conspiracies, nobody would want to stop us, would they?
Oh my goodness, that's horrible. So like they what did they do? What did they put like they put something in your food, in your water?
Yeah. We here's what we believe. We believe we have nailed both times, and we think we may have the people. We're not sure. One time was a one of our tours, and we were in Sarasota, and there was a guy that we were very suspicious of in security, but he came into a line to shake my hand and actually shake my friend's hand, Michael Jaco.
Mhm.
And as soon as he shook our hand, he ran out the door. We didn't think anything of it at the time.
Uh-huh.
But then Michael got the worst of it because he shook their hand first.
Uh-huh.
And, this is an ex-Navy SEAL, and he was on his deathbed. And then I was next. So we are assuming that maybe he had something on his palm, right? And obviously we probably touched our face or did whatever ever later. So that was really bad. Took me a long time to get through that. We got through it. Michael got through that
Mhm.
with a lot of healing. And then later, um, right before, I believe it was Truth Tour 2, I believe it was in Miami at a special event, and we think somebody put somebody in my water. She kept asking, "Can I get him water? Can I get Lewis water? Can I get this Lewis water?" And finally, we were like, "Yeah, that's fine." And then the next thing you know, um, I had a serious issue where I couldn't even breathe, coughing like crazy, and it got worse and worse over the weeks. I went to a special practitioner, and she did a sonar on me, and she found out my whole right lung was white, and it's supposed to be black under that sonar, and then it was creeping into the side. I didn't tell her anything, and she says, "Wow, Lewis, looks like you were poisoned." I
That
said, "Interesting."
did you
And
do toxicology?
But no, we didn't do toxicology because she actually had some modalities right there, ones that they don't allow in the United States, and she cleared it up right there with some frequency healing that just blew me away that this technology even existed. I was like, wow. So that was pretty cool.
That's
Um,
yeah, that's
and then
horrible.
yeah, and then I did a whole protocol from my buddy's company of glutathione, which really helped me a lot.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, so tell us about your policy proposals, what you're gonna do, what and the changes that you hope to see under your leadership.
Sure, thank you. So so far we have 17 problems, major problems that we found in California. We already have 17 solutions for them. They're all on our website. First and foremost is child trafficking. So in order to tackle child trafficking, and it sounds really sad, but we're going to have to expose the higher level people in law enforcement and the judiciary that are ignoring it. So that's one of the first things that we're going to do is we'll bring up cases publicly and show how these cases were ignored, how calls for trafficking have been completely ignored by some districts, some police, and some sheriffs. And then we're putting together a task force right now of actual groups that are currently saving children from human trafficking and pedophilia. Currently, hundreds and hundreds of them. And then we're going to partner with the current administration also through Tom Holman to do everything we can to fight this. And it will take some money, but we have a way to get the money also, which is fantastic, right? So the key is the sheriffs and the police and the state police and the judiciary, they need to know right now, if you're on the right side of this, you're going to get millions of people behind you saying how amazing you are. And if you're on the wrong side of this, we're coming after you. We're not going to put up with this anymore. So that's the child trafficking. Let's for the health modalities, it's fantastic. I've been traveling literally all over the world, finding the best of the best. Just last weekend, the weekend before last, my wife and I were in Ireland, and we were at a health clinic that my buddy runs. Blew me away at some of the things they have there that we don't have here.
Mhm,
So we're going to be looking to bring those there. We've been studying how to nurture our crops. We actually found a lady that seems very credible, and a doctor and another guy that I talked to backed it up, where she is putting some frequencies and some copper around major agriculture, and they're getting 2 times as much crop production,
mhm.
and they're not seeing the bugs and the insects attacking their crops. And I'm like, wow, okay, we need to look at that. We need to have an open mind and look at these things, right? We already know what the pesticides do. They're absolutely horrible.
Hmm.
We know what happens when we don't remineralize the soil. And how does that happen? So when we run, God has made it so you're only supposed to run maybe a couple crops a year because they need time off
Hmm.
and the soil has to regenerate. But what do? Another crop and another crop and another crop. And then we're adding the genetically modified in there, and then we're adding the fertilizer and all this stuff that's poisonous. Well,
Yeah.
we're ingesting that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
I can tell you
a whole ecosystem. People,
the whole ecosystem is messed
yeah,
up.
everything.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So I can tell you, when my wife and I travel, if we eat bread in the United States, we have an issue.
Hmm.
If we eat bread in say Mexico or even Ireland or Italy, like we just did, no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
No issues whatsoever.
Mhm.
You look at the back of a bottle of ketchup, Ireland, and it has four ingredients. You look at the back of a bottle of ketchup here, and it's 16.
Mhm. Yeah, even
Many things we put in our food are illegal in other countries. So we are being systematically poisoned, and it's on purpose.
mhm. Yeah.
Right. So we're going to change the food like you cannot believe. When it comes to the healthcare industry, it's a no-brainer. Scarlett, you already know this. 80 to 90% of our issues are either environmental or food related, nutritional related. That's a fact. That's not a conjecture.
Yeah.
But yet, less than 3% of the education for our standard MDs are in nutrition and environmental issues. So how in the world can they heal us if they're not even looking in the right place?
Mhm.
Because they're treating symptoms, not the causes. I actually visited a clinic, and like I said, we traveled all over the place. They have 6 to 8 locations. Currently, they have a 3,500% better rate at treating cancer
Mhm.
than the top oncologists in the country.
I know which facility you're talking about, in Vida.
Yep,
Yeah,
and it's
I'm looking
doc
into that too. Yeah, it's awesome.
It it is documented. I've been there. I have the documentation.
Mhm.
It will blow you away. Not you, obviously, because you've looked into it. So these are the things that have been hidden from the public.
Yeah.
We can reduce the health insurance immediately by 50%, and we can get it set up so people can use virtually any. If they want to use a chiropractor, that's fine.
Mhm.
That will be included in that. So all of these things exist already. We just have to have the courage to bring them to California because big pharma and the medical industry are going to fight it tooth and nail because they care more about their bottom line profit than they do the person that they're talking to.
Yeah, to me, I think the biggest problem in the health field in California is all the mandates, the medical mandates, the vaccine mandates, and the medical kidnapping. It's happening every single day, and it's killing a lot of young children
Yes.
carelessly and needlessly.
It's medical tyranny.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's clear as can. So our country currently is a corpocracy, and what I mean by that is we think it's run by duly elected officials. Well, number one, most of them are selected, not elected.
Mhm.
When people wake up to that fact, they're going to understand. So what happens is great example. So Joe Biden's mandates had no teeth whatsoever. Like the mandates didn't mean nothing. It was a dog whistle to the corporations
Yes.
to enforce those mandates.
Mhm.
That's what it was. So you have or corrupt governors in states to enforce the mandates.
Mhm.
So mandates have zero teeth whatsoever. It's like, I'm mandating that you do this. Well, I'm sorry. We're all sovereign. We're free. We say no, thank you, because no is the strongest possible word in the English language by far. We just don't access it enough.
Mhm.
So what happened is during the mandates, you had corporations enforcing it, literally kicking you out of the business if you weren't wearing a mask, shaming you. Hospitals saying we're not gonna talk to you. Schools not letting children in. Right? There was no law
Yeah.
whatsoever. So it was a myth. It was a facade that these corporations jumped on top of us. So we're run by a corpocracy.
Mhm.
I will probably be the only campaign, unfortunately, that's going to be exposing that at the highest level.
Yeah, I really do hope more people, more politicians they are willing to jump on the wagon. It is killing the children of the states, and it is causing so much chronic illnesses. We have the highest autism rate in the country, in the whole world.
Yes, we do. Yeah. So we live under what I call the Great American Psyop. So if somebody comes to another country, maybe you're from another country, maybe yourself, we think we're coming to the most free country in the world.
That's what I
Right.
thought.
Right.
Until
Exactly.
2020. Yeah.
And where are you from?
China.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you understand what tyranny looks like,
Mhm.
right? So you come over here, and ours just It's tyranny with a makeup of a nice face.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah.
So underneath the foundation is extremely tyrannical. I mean, the fact that we get taken off of social media, we don't have free speech. They come
Mm-hmm.
after us. In California, there's been a Proposition 771 that has just passed the Congress and the state,
Mm-hmm.
literally smashing our free speech. They can charge us up to $1 million for telling the truth,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It,
And then I do notice how heavily censored that you are on social media and just everywhere.
I'll give you an example. The biggest challenge we have in our campaign right now, we're going to get through it pretty quick, is people go online and they say, well, you're not a legitimate candidate. We're like, if you go to the Secretary of State website, it says we're a legitimate candidate. In
Uh-huh.
fact, because of the issues we had getting on the Secretary of State website, now we have a person assigned to us, I think because they got enough heat from our campaign that they're like, every time I call, yes, sir, what can we do for you, sir, right? But unfortunately, to these independent corporations like Ballotpedia, we submitted,
Isn't on it. I checked.
no, we submitted 2 months ago,
Yeah, it's crazy.
completely approved, still not on there. Wikipedia is a good one. We submitted to Wikipedia and they say, you're unknown on the internet. Well, I have more things about me, Lewis Herms, on the internet, right, than Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco combined,
Mm-hmm.
which are supposedly the top 2 candidates. If you search Lewis Herms, you'll find us all over the place. I've been interviewed by the Gateway Pundit. They wouldn't even recognize that I was interviewed by the Gateway Pundit. So Wikipedia is not putting us on there. ABC and all the other networks won't even take our phone call and our email. They will not respond to us. The suppression is real. But and it works too, because there's so many people say, hey, I'd love to donate to your campaign, but it looks like you're not a real candidate.
Yeah.
Wow. It's absolutely incredible. We're going to get through this, just like we got through the Secretary of State, and now we have a key person. So unfortunately, our attorneys are going to get involved, and we're going to go for it. But, you know, a podcast like yours and other people that are doing podcasts is about the only way that we could really reach people right now. Places are turning down our advertising. It's amazing. So they're scared, which is
I know,
good.
I know. Yeah. So I know you're probably running short on time, but if you still have some time, I love for you to run through the whole list of your policy proposals.
Well, it's a big list that I don't have time for the 17, but I'll give you an idea really quick. So let's go on to one of the big ones, taxation and overspending in government. Those are actually combined. So we have a system right now where everything's fake, phony, and false. As this gentleman, my friend Bruce, and his buddy Dave Snedeker tells him, and it's true, because what happens is when we go through the budget of California, I would say 70-80% of it is actual over expense. It's political payoffs. It's absolutely corrupt. So what happens is we're going to go, and I call it super doge. We're going to super doge California, the budget and their expenditures. And when we get those down to about 20%, can you imagine dropping them from where it is now down to 20%? You know what goes hand in hand with that is bye-bye property tax and bye-bye income tax.
Yeah.
You have no need for it. No need for it whatsoever, because that money is not going to the infrastructure that supports us. We just exposed this on Saturday. If anybody hasn't looked at it, you should look at our press conference on the school bonds. The theft of the school bonds will blow people away. So, for example, a high school that should cost $50 million to build is costing $100 million to build, and all that extra money disappears into political payoffs and corruption. Oh, but it gets worse. Then they refinance and redo that bond. It could cost up to $1 billion. Can you imagine that the American people are supposed to spend $50 million for a high school and it costs up to $1 billion? Well, all that money that's spent should be going to our children. You know what it should be doing? Hire the best teachers out there, pay the teachers a higher salary, and reduce the size of the classrooms.
Yeah.
And then get rid of DEI completely inside of the school system, and monitor them, and then give the education process a chance so that your kids can mature. Take a lot of that money and give it to parents that choose to do homeschooling. There's so many easy, simple solutions. And I've said for a long time, if it's simple, it's God's work. If it's messy, it's something else. And unfortunately, I think I have about two minutes because I have another appointment.
Okay. Yeah. If there's anything major you would like to say, you can just put it out there.
Well, I just like people to know, you don't need to support me right now, but I would like you to really pay attention to our campaign. and find out that we are extremely authentic. All we want to do is get the truth out there and make a difference.
Yeah.
And when we can make a difference in your lives and help wake up people and maybe get some of these politicians to start rethinking this. Great example. I've had many people try to advise me, Louis, you should say this, you should talk like this. You should do a polling on this and get talking points. And I said, no. In fact, I don't have a campaign manager because I don't need to pay somebody to tell me how to lie to the people.
Yeah.
Not interested in that.
Yeah.
We're just going to be honest and authentic.
That's amazing. Yeah, I do find you extremely authentic. You don't spin anything. You don't dressing anything up or down, for your political purposes. I do really appreciate that. So thank you so much for coming on, Louis. I hope to get you back on a later date and we can talk some more.
Love to be here. Probably a couple of weeks. We're just on tour right now, touring California, and we'll be done. I think our final one is October 8th in Thousand Oaks. It's been wonderful to be here. I know this is our second conversation, but I appreciate all the work you've done that people don't even know about.
I'll try my best to spread the word.